Great. So I do have handouts for you guys. I'll send you at the end because I have all of your emails for those of you that are joining. And thanks so much for registering. I also noticed some people did make a donation, so I appreciate that. That'll go to some food cards for clients at our agency, as well as some other needed supplies for people in the community. So I've just been trying to do these a couple times a week, asking for small donations, even of $1 or $2, and trying to help out some people in the community during this time. I am going to give you guys a poll here. Can you guys see the poll? Yes, no? Cool. So 2 people. It says, have you experienced anxiety in the last week? Okay, everybody's like, yes, yes. Okay. No. Okay, well, we have 1 no. That's good. No anxiety. Cool as a cucumber. Very sorry about the barking there. Okay. Can anybody share what some of their symptoms of anxiety have looked like? Because that's very different for everybody. Everybody experiences that in a different way.
Just nervousness. And I feel it in my chest.
Sorry. No, go ahead. I was just gonna add worrying. Like just constant thoughts of worry.
Right. So all of us are dealing with a lot of unknowns right now. Many of you have families you need to be taking care of. A lot of us are out of work or maybe working part-time from home. A lot of us are in the home right now with children and spouses. So a lot of it can be just a huge change all at once. And then, add in the social media and everything that's going on there, and that's only exacerbating everybody's anxiety. And so Rosie had mentioned, some somatic symptoms, and we'll talk about some of those today. And by somatic symptoms, we mean body symptoms of anxiety. And so a lot of people will have many different symptoms at different times: sweaty palms, queasy stomach, maybe a pressure headache, tense muscles. I know for me, my shoulders go, way up here. So everybody experiences that differently. Some people have sleep disruption, appetite and things like that changes. So there's a lot of symptoms to it. And one thing people don't match up with anxiety is that anxiety and depression live together a lot of the time. A lot of people think they're so very separate, but realistically, living with anxiety for longer term can lead to periods of depression as well. So we're going to talk about some positive things today as well. A 5-day positive challenge and a couple of topics around anxiety. I found some great information on different apps and free things that you can do to keep busy right now during this time and kind of share with each other. And then, just really thinking, even though we're all social distancing, it doesn't mean we need to distance from each other or support. And, we have to make sure people aren't isolating, and we're trying to stay as positive and productive as possible. If anything, this has allowed people to kind of sit with themselves and be mindful for a little bit, which is something that we really don't do a whole lot of. We often say, I'm too busy to take time for myself. And now we've kind of been forced into taking time for ourselves. So that's something to think about as well. Just going to take a look at that poll again. So most of you have experienced anxiety this week. Let's see. So here's a little chart for you, and I will be sure to get you all this PowerPoint and the handouts. Anxiety, obviously, you know a lot of the symptoms: rapid heartbeat, breathing, sweating, muscle tension. Sense of danger or panic is usually at the higher end of the spectrum for anxiety. And so what I mean by that is we can have mild, moderate, or severe. And the more severe end of things would be like a panic attack, right? You hear people say, I feel like I'm having a heart attack. The room feels like it's closing in on me, that kind of thing. And so I would say that's at the more severe end. And there are ways to calm even those down, and we'll talk about that. We're all excessively worried, I would say, right now, just, with the unknown. I don't know many people that don't worry during an unknown time. If they do, maybe they could share some tricks with us. And then depression starts to hit. We're in our homes. I'm not sure what you're doing to keep busy, but we're going to talk about some things you can be doing. Because even though you think it's cool right now to be in your jammies and like hanging out at the house, it definitely leads to some depression and different symptoms that aren't healthy. So you do need to make sure you still have some kind of routine. Yesterday, I did a little webinar on how to talk to kids about COVID, and we were talking about how to get the children on some kind of routine and how important that is. But it's also important for adults. If you're just ripped out of your daily routine, of waking up, brushing your teeth, eating your breakfast, going to get your Starbucks, going to work, doing your tasks, and then you're just at home kind of like, well, I could get away with, some not doing too much, or being in your pajamas. It really does start to add to depression over time. I found this quote. It says, people with anxiety don't have a train of thought. We have 7 trains on 4 different tracks that narrowly avoid each other when paths cross, and all the conductors are screaming. I had some clients say to me, now the rest of the world knows what it's like for me every day with anxiety. And I thought to myself, wow, that was a pretty heavy comment, because we all are a little escalated. We're all a little heightened. We're all a little hyper vigilant would be the word, our kind of safety systems are going into overdrive, and that can definitely have a lot of different symptoms. So the goal is to slow the mind down and slow the body down. And some things we'll go over today would be to identify, breathe, and redirect. So if you just remember IBR, identify, breathe, and redirect. Some people think too much about how to relax when really it's simple. Go to your breath, just breathe. That's all you have to remember. Even 4 deep breaths will reset your system, get some oxygen flowing in your blood, and have you feeling a lot better. So I'm sure all of you know the fight, flight, freeze survival system. And again, you'll get these pictures so you can take a look at them. But the norm or the balanced area would be the green. And then your sympathetic nervous system kicks in during times of what it thinks is danger. And some people go all the way up to freeze. So there's those 3 reactions. And you may not think you're outright doing those, but there are different ways that you could essentially be experiencing those already. Does anybody think they have experienced even mild fight, flight, or freeze during the recent events? Bobby says yes in the chat. Which one is it, Bobby? Is it fight, flight, freeze? Then I had someone say worry and concern, of course. Okay. I think for me as, okay, Bobby's in the freeze area. Yeah, I think, yeah, I got a couple that say freeze. That's interesting. I think I have been running in the fight, kind of. Oh, I have one saying helplessness as well. That's okay. Fight, but motivation. So as a business owner, and I think we may have a couple of business owners on here that registered as well, there's a lot to think about. It's like, okay, get prepared to fight. Let's go. What are the backup plans? What are the ways that I could keep everybody okay? Just working around the clock. I don't think I've actually stopped and slowed down. So for me, I think I'm more in either the fight or flight area. Someone said helplessness. Where do you think that is? Is that in the flight, fight, or freeze area? For you, anyway. I think it's more numbness in the freeze. Okay. Gotcha. So first and foremost, to help any one of those, fight, flight, or freeze, is grounding skills. What grounding skills means is literally bringing yourself back down to the ground. Often when we're in fight, flight, freeze, we're way up in the air. Just picture it like that. We're not really grounded, thinking rationally. We're very much in our emotional mind, thinking up movies, scripts, and frames of things that are going to happen. And so you have to kind of lower that down. And again, the simplest skill to remember, and this you can share with family, coworkers, friends, go to your senses. Okay. What do you smell? What do you hear? What do you see? What do you taste? What do you feel? And so, for example, cozy blankets and pillows. I know a lot of clients and myself are very comforted by those things. It's something that grounds me. It's something that comforts me. To breathe deeply. We often breathe almost the entire day from our chest. I don't know if you guys notice that. And so you want to move it to the diaphragm, which is right in the middle of the rib cage there. And you want to do big, deep belly breaths, almost like you're filling up your whole belly with air. Why do we want to do deep belly breaths from the diaphragm? Is because it gets the most oxygen into the blood to calm our bodies down. And so if you try that right now, just put your hands on your diaphragm. So you're not breathing in the chest. We're going to fill our bellies like big, full bellies. And so breathe in, big, full belly, and out. One of my favorite practices with clients, I know it's supposed to be 4, 7, 8 for the amount of breaths. Hold your breath, breathe out. Clients think that's like too long to hold the breath out of 7. So I go 4, 2, 4. So you breathe in for 4, 2, 3, 4, hold for 2, 1, 2, and push it out for 4, 2, 3, 4. And so I want to try that with all of you together as well. We're going to breathe in for 4, breathe in, 2, 3, 4, hold, and push it out. And you want to hear it pushing out of the mouth. So we're going to go in, 2, 3, 4, hold, and push it out. Literally 4 sets of those, and you're gonna feel slightly more relaxed. So I don't take for granted the breath and breathing. Even if you can't remember the different acronyms of skills and all these, wonderful things, just breathe. That's all you have to remember. Just breathe. Tapping helps a lot. That's done a lot in EMDR. That's a trauma therapy. It's rapid eye movement desensitization, but there's a lot of breathing involved. Tapping is kind of soothing as well. You can tap the temples while you breathe. You can tap right in between here. If you need to calm down, sometimes splashing cool water right on these 2 spots here will calm you down. And so there's all these little tips and tricks. Another favorite grounding skill is the butterfly. If you go like this and hold your chest, it's just very comforting and soothing. And you're going to tap left, right, left, right, left, right while you breathe. And it's just a really comforting feeling. The left, right tapping stimulates both sides of the brain. And so when we're being irrational, just picture one side of the brain lighting up like bright and the other one not lighting up at all. So we want to light up both sides to try to calm down. Okay. 5 days of positive. I've been trying to do this since we've been home, and you can make this whatever you want to make it to be. But for day one, all day, I was trying to say for every worst case scenario, I was thinking I'm going to imagine the best thing that can happen. Sounds silly, but it's reframing your thinking. So if I'm catastrophizing, which is making a catastrophe out of everything, I want to try to reframe my brain to think of the positive. On day two, do 3 things to cut negativity out of my life. So unfollow, remove negative feelings. And it could be unfollowing some things on Facebook. I think there was one news post that was really coming out with tons and tons of, just horribly negative stuff. And so I made sure to block that. If your family's being negative, it's okay to set a boundary around, how much you want to hear on the phone with them. And if it's a little white lie at the moment, that's okay. I have to go cook dinner. I have to go take care of the dogs, whatever it is. And so you have the right to set boundaries around what you're allowing in your life right now about this COVID, about this isolation, about everybody's opinions, and just really setting boundaries around what you're going to allow in your life and what you're not. On the third day, give a genuine compliment to 5 people. I found myself being way too much in my own head, way too much thinking about what do I need to do? Me, I. So I started picking up the phone, calling staff members, calling friends, doing a little face chat, just making sure, how are you doing? What's going on with you? Right? Did you see anything funny today? I was on the phone watching goat laughing videos with one of my friends too. So humor's okay during this time. Giving compliments to others, taking yourself out of your own head and focusing on others is super helpful during times like this. Make a list of best memories you have. When I did this the other night, it was very cool because I had about 7 or 8 things pop up that I had completely not thought about for years. So I really sat there just kind of thinking and mulling over what are some of my best memories throughout my life. I've been very lucky throughout my life, and I've met some really great people throughout my life and had experiences and remembered some funny ones too. So I would highly recommend you try that one out. Question all negative thoughts today by asking, could the opposite be true? You almost want to kick yourself when you ask yourself that, because usually you come up with some opposites that can be true. And you're like, God. So you can make your 5 days a positive, whatever you need it to be, whatever you want it to be. Experiment with some things. See if you could get out of your own head and into caring and being with others during this time. Here's some apps I really like. Calm is one I've used for years. It has different meditations. There is a free version and there is a paid version of that one. Literally 3 to 5 minute meditations. So I remember in between my workday, I would kind of hop in the bathroom and play one of my calm meditations if I needed to just kind of bring it down a notch. They have sleep stories that they read out loud. And so if you like the sound of that narration going to sleep, it's super helpful. They have nature sounds. Daily workouts fitness trainer, that was free. I also read that Planet Fitness was doing a free membership online streaming workouts for until April 7th, I think. And Peloton had the free 90-day trial as well because of the COVID. So there are things, if you're more physical and you like to kind of work in some activity for yourself. Caribou was virtual games for kids and it was free. So I thought that was a really cool one. Of course, you want to keep things kind of age appropriate right now and have them stimulated, while they're home and working on some healthy things. Sling TV they had a free membership for a few weeks. Duolingo is kind of fun. It's to learn different languages, but there's all kinds of games to do it, and that is free. Down Dog was a free yoga streaming service. Stop, Breathe, and Think is another one of my favorite apps that I have a lot of my clients do. Gives you different directives on how to calm down when you need to calm down, affirmations, quotes. For those of you that don't know what affirmations are, they could be positive affirmations like, I will be okay. I'm doing the best I could do. I'm a great person. It's important to say affirmations. We don't say them enough. Other ideas, Happily is all about positive psychology. So again, another really cool app. Insight Timer. I actually use this as my alarm instead of that blaring alarm that goes like, like my husband has that alarm and it's horrible. So Insight Timer is like a Buddhist bell. And of course I get made fun of for that, but it just goes bing. It's like beautiful, lovely. But anyway, you can see people all around the world that are meditating. So that's really neat. Pull up the map. You can see everyone that's meditating at the same time as you are. Chris Hemsworth is treating us all to 6 weeks of workouts. I will watch that. Just saying. Let's see. Seattle Symphony is streaming their symphony online. So really beautiful music. And explore.org, I was having a ball on this the other night. You can see cameras all around the world of animals. You could go to Africa and watch the lions. You can, I was watching pandas somewhere in the Orient. I don't know where. What else? Aurora Borealis. You can watch the Northern Lights live, and they even have a NASA channel. So all of that was free, and it was very, very cool to see all that stuff. A challenge for you during this time of isolation and things, when a negative thought enters your mind, try to think up a positive one. And so this is where we were speaking about positive affirmations. We often can probably write a 2-page list of negative things we think of ourselves, of others, of the world. It would probably be much more difficult to get a list going of positive things. And so it's super important to try to shift that brain and say good things to yourself. I am enough. I am capable of so much. I'm in control of my happiness. I think a lot of us feel, as you said, helpless and out of control right now. But realistically, this is a test for us to be most in control of our emotions, mindfulness, and going forward with our lives. So there's that. Positive attitude causes a chain reaction of positive thoughts, events, and outcomes. And it's a catalyst and sparks extraordinary results. I don't think that we practice this enough. And so I challenge you to have this frame of thinking over the next couple of weeks and to try to inspire others to do the same, because it will have a chain reaction. So reframing your thinking, you could talk more about what's going good in your life. Can anybody tell me maybe even just a handful of things that are going good in your life right now? I think for me, I'm still employed. I have my health. My stepson is healthy. I have 3 healthy pups. I'm able to eat, and I have groceries in my home. And so all of those things, and then I'm able to do really cool webinars for you guys and interact. Katie said work, family, dogs, and spring. Sandy said getting yard work done. Yes. I've had more time to get organized. Yes, that's a big one for people right now. Bobby says friendships. Very cool. Thank you, guys. Oh, how funny. And someone said, I have a bidet, so TP is not a problem. Nice. That's awesome. Focus on others rather than your own worry. Bring awareness into your space. So speaking of organization, have you actually sat in your home and been like, some of these pieces are not working for me, and I need to fix them, right? So this is a good opportunity to really make your space what you need it to be, what you want it to be, to help sort of that positive mindset. Journal for self-discovery. I think writing right now is a great way to get out a lot of stuff that's in our minds, a lot of worries, fears, even positive things. I will be running a couple webinars on journaling for self-discovery to kind of reset our thinking process right now. I'll probably do them as well on Friday evenings. Create a business plan. That's another way to go. Do you want to do anything with your career or your business? Do you want to work with some mind maps? So I found some cool ones. I really like these. I'm a very visual learner. I don't know about you guys. But mind mapping is great. Have you had any big passions, dreams, or ideas? Get them out on paper. I have books and journals of things throughout the years that, I'm going to open this and I'm going to do this and, dream and dream and dream. But at the same time, a lot of that can be true and real for you. So mind mapping is a great visual tool to just really do either a brain dump or an idea. You can even make the center bubble. The center bubble of a mind map is usually the target. So you would put something like my dream. You could put something like fear and then mind map all the things you're fearful about. You could do it in whatever way you want. Some people are more listers. They like to write lists of things, and it's the same idea. I think if you're truly worried before you go to sleep, it would be important to get a lot of these things out on paper because it kind of releases it from your mind. It's almost like a ritual to get it out of your brain onto the paper, put it away for another time. So that way you're not going to bed with all of that in your mind. Also, speaking of social media, how many of you have been limiting the amount of time that you're watching the news or reading negativity on Facebook? I am good. Yeah, specifically before you go to bed, I would highly recommend maybe just allot yourself some time in the morning or afternoon. I wouldn't recommend watching it before you go to sleep. Before you go to sleep is to filter out all the negativity and stress, try to calm your body down, get a good night's rest. Sandy says, my daughter is not doing that. Right. So, Sandy, how old is your daughter? Okay. 44. I mean, at the same time, everybody in the world right now is very used to this social media and looking at things. And, for teens, it's even harder though, because I mean, they are trained to be on that phone 24/7, so if you're able, maybe just recommending to them to see how you feel after 2 days of limiting or setting boundaries around the social media. Or if they're not into that, I found like a positive news channel the other day, everything positive that's going on in the world right now. And I was making sure that I was focusing on that for a few days in a row. And that definitely assisted in my mindset. So that is, here are our contact, the website, email, phone. We're doing all of our services on teletherapy right now. Our physical locations, I know, will be open again at some point because this is temporary. And I'm going to say that with confidence. And so please reach out if you need anything. We never turn anyone away for inability to pay. We do work with first responders, voluntary clients, and probation mandated. So it's a mix of services. Any ideas or questions about anxiety, any advice or coaching needed around certain things that have come up for you with all the events going on? And if you can, just share your mic as well. That would work.
Hey, and Nicole, I do have one thing to add. Not necessarily a question, but certainly something that's been coming up in groups, and when we're talking about anxiety and what everybody's going through right now. And that's just kind of remembering what's under your control.
Yeah,
That can sometimes be comforting for people, just focusing on what you have control over and what you don't have control over. So, I just wanted to add that to the list if that's helpful for anyone.
absolutely. Thank you for that. What have you guys been doing for self-care during this time?
Well, I can't unmute, or I can't mute myself, so I'll talk.
Okay.
um, similar to, and here's Lola
Lola
showing,
says hi.
or is
Yeah.
that, it's Lola. My dogs are a big part of my self-care, especially working from home now. They're hanging out with
Yes.
me most of the day, which is really nice. Um, Also, just making sure that spending time with the family every day is super important to me, and stepping away from everything that's going on and just really being present with the family, even though we're kind of stuck in the house, but that's okay. There's plenty to do. And then just, kind of reaching out via text or trying to stay away from social media, but instead just reaching out in different ways.
Awesome. I had another person, right, being able to talk to friends when I'm getting overwhelmed. Yes. Rosie says, playing my violin again and beading. So crafts and things are great as well. Reaching out and talking to my family, online chat. Yes. Chris says running. Good for you, Chris. Puzzles, walking on a treadmill and in the park, snuggling with the dog, staying in contact with friends over 70 years old. That's a good point. Yes, I think a lot of people are worried. I know one of the things our donations are going to as well is distilled water for CPAP machines. One of my friends had a bunch of neighbors that are a little bit up in age and were having a lot of difficulty finding distilled water for their CPAP machines. So, and as you know, the stores were limiting the amount of gallons that I think it was 3 per person the other day. So if you could pass any info along if you're finding extra distilled water anywhere, that would be good too. But friends over 70, how are they feeling about all of this, Sandy, when you do contact them? Anxious and alone, yes. And I've noticed too, a lot of our older clients for the counseling agency, they are having a hard time navigating this online world. So not only people in our age range are having trouble navigating it, I can't imagine being someone in that age catchment trying to work through this and stay connected with people. And so some of the solutions would be just a lot of phone calls, a lot of phone check-ins, seeing how they're doing. And, just like Sandy was saying, Sandy says a friend had surgery, total amputation of a leg, can't get out, isolated. Right, right. And so, what is it that we do? I would say, phone calls and things like that. Any other ideas around that for those that are truly isolated right now? What would you try to recommend to lower their anxiety?
If they are okay with technology, I think doing even just FaceTiming on your phone, so you don't feel so like you're alone, so you can kind of see expressions on people's faces, and still have some of that interaction even though it's virtual.
Mm-hmm.
And some people I've heard have been using their Zoom platforms to have like a group of friends sort of get together, which I thought was kind of a cool idea. But yeah, I'm kind of in favor of the, even though I never have before, but this whole FaceTime stuff is really important right now, I think, for people to keep connected.
Yeah, I agree. Sandy says, I made my daughter teach me Zoom, and we are thinking Bible study book groups. Yes, very good. Yeah, I saw a bunch of people were using Zoom the other night to have a Netflix watch party and then also a book club. So I did see that, but it does help us feel a little more connected. Um, so with that, with all the information today, I will get you handouts on anxiety and different somatic symptoms, as well as some techniques to identify, breathe, and redirect. Just remember that 40 million adults experience generalized anxiety. You're not abnormal for things you're experiencing. And there are places that you can reach out to if you're truly having difficulty. 36% of the population receives treatment for anxiety, and the rest do not reach out. And so those are, pretty big numbers. And don't forget that anxiety and depression go hand in hand. So the positive thinking, the grounding skills, distraction techniques, keeping active, eating well, drinking water, all of those things are super helpful in lowering anxiety and depression. If you guys should need anything at all, please reach out to me. You can reach out via the website, or my email is heartcc@outlook.com, and I'd be happy to assist in whatever way I can. But thanks so much for coming. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.